I would like to introduce Jesse Warren next. He's come to talk to us about his holistic approach of Canopy coaching. Jesse's been jumping for 20 years. He's had focuses in four-way FS, crew, and more recently now Canopy piloting. He's a full-time instructor and high-performance Canopy coach and runs High Fly Australia, which is a Canopy coaching school that travels around the country delivering Canopy courses for all levels. So I'd like to introduce Jesse. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Jules. Thanks, Harry and Gina. That was great. Yeah, I've been sort of nerding out on the weather myself the last couple of years, being a paraglider and really sort of immersing myself in and around that environment. So some of that stuff was really valuable. I appreciate it. So most of you guys have sort of been sitting down for about an hour now. If you haven't already, I encourage you to get up, take the time now to get up, have a bit of a walk around, grab a glass of water or something, just shake out those tingles because, over the next hour or so, we are going to be sitting down and spending a bit of time on focusing. So I encourage you to take a little bit of a break now. Sitting down for an hour is long enough for most people. And, within a couple of minutes, we'll get together and start this session. So, yeah, I encourage you to do that now. I'm keen to sort of focus on this next section, sort of wholly. So yeah, let's take that opportunity. Also encourage you guys to find a nice quiet space, perhaps shut the door to the room if you can. Turn your phone on silent so that you can really focus and, give yourself the best opportunity to benefit from these workshops that we're going to do. If you can't do it right now, it's not a major problem. Keep watching on. You'll still learn a thing or two, but maybe you can utilize the recording function and watch this again when you've got a bit of quiet space to yourself. Cool. Who we got here? All right, great. So for some of us that are still here and comfortable, can I see a show of hands of anyone who's used like a breathing exercise or meditation at least maybe once a week? Yeah, cool. How about anyone who's they used to use it in the past? Perhaps it was a practice before, or maybe they used to do yoga and they don't do it anymore. Oh, that's cool. We've got a nice mixed bag. What about those who have never actually knowingly used meditation in the past? Yeah, great. Or some sort of breathing exercise or some sort of mindfulness training or mindfulness work. Great. Okay, so most of us are sort of back with us. Look, I'm not a breathwork practitioner, or I'm not a yoga teacher or anything like that. I don't have any qualifications whatsoever. So whatever it is that I'm delivering today is just based on things that I've personally experienced. And it's just a practice that I've sort of developed by taking bits and pieces from people that I've learned stuff from. So, hopefully I do it justice when I deliver it to you guys. And hopefully you guys can use it as a tool in your everyday lives and in your skydiving career as well. So there are other concepts in the presentation that aren't my ideas either, but they resonate well with me. So I like to share them as well. I hope to be able to pass it on to you guys so that you can share with other people. So first of all, I want to thank you guys. Giving gratitude is one of the things that helps me sort of appreciate what it is I do. And I just want to thank you guys for coming today and taking some time out of your day. As Jules mentioned, it's coming up to about 20 years since I've started jumping, and I've really come to appreciate how much skydiving is a part of my life. I've been in and out a couple of times, but having kids and a couple of injuries and stuff like that. But these times away from the sport have given me a bit of perspective, and it's just made me more hungry to be involved when I can. So I'm also learning how much I have to offer the community, my motivation towards building community, and some of the tools and tricks and tips that I've learned along the way, I feel are really valuable for a lot of students up and coming. So yeah, I'm really starting to see my place in the community and how I fit in. Over the past few years, I've made it a bit of a mantra to help nurture a supportive learning culture. This aligns with a lot of the APF's objectives, of course, but you know, wherever I'm at in a DZ, whether it's a new DZ or, you know, my own DZ, I really encourage and support others to do the same, you know, like really helping students come up, helping other instructors, you know, fulfill their goals, things like that. Just, it feels like really appropriate considering when I was a student coming up, it was one of those things that really stuck with me. You know, we got a lot of support from all the older jumpers. This is before there were coaches and all that sort of stuff. But there was just always someone there helping us out. And yeah, I feel like it's really important for us to pass that on to the younger jumpers and other coaches. So today I'm going to share a few tools that I've picked up along the way. They've sort of helped me as an athlete, like as a Canopy pilot. They've helped me in my personal life, you know, as a dad with kids, and it's also helped me in my coaching business at High Fly Australia. The session will be split into like 3 separate bits. So we're going to introduce some breathing techniques and some body awareness, or you know, you might have heard it called mindfulness. And not only for our skydiving performance, but just for any everyday challenges. You know, these are things that you can use. Visualization and creative imagery. This is something that you might have heard of before. We use it for mental rehearsal, for remembering a skydive, or for learning a new skill set. So that's going to be part of the second session. And then finally, we'll look into canopy piloting and the flow state. So we're going to delve into the path of like mindfulness, exploring the relationship that we have with our wing, and really fostering like gratitude for the entire journey, not just the end result, but the actual journey of learning as well. In regards to the questions, like I encourage you to write the questions down. It's a bit hard with when the presentation's up, we don't get the questions. So I'll put some time aside, you know, when we get through a session, and we'll be able to, hopefully I'll be able to answer your questions then. So the idea behind the next exercise, it's to bring you guys to the present moment, and to block out distractions and develop a feeling of calm, just allowing the body to relax and focus the mind. So the ultimate aim is to be able to use this tool, to be able to use it like almost in an instant, you know, in the space of 1 or 2 breaths. But this next exercise will go for about 10 minutes, and hopefully you can utilize the tools from the exercise to be able to create that space for yourself. Yeah, with a little bit of practice, you'll be able to recognize how valuable this tool is, and be able to call on it in any situation. So to share my screen. Is there a way I can share? There we go. Make sure the audio is coming up on that too. Jules, can you give me a thumbs up if you got the audio on that?
You're sitting on a chair for this exercise, that's fine.
No audio?
Hey Jesse, it's Trevor here.
Hey Trevor.
When you click on the share screen button, it should give you an option whether you want to share it with audio. Down the bottom left-hand corner, there's a tick box, share computer sound.
Perfect, mate. Thanks very much. All right. Bring it in, people.
If you're sitting on a chair for this exercise, that's fine. Start by sliding your bum back into the chair and roll your pelvis forward a little. Get yourself comfortable by planting your feet firmly on the ground, with even pressure along the base of your feet. Imagine a piece of string gently pulling you upward toward the ceiling. Imagine and feel the space between your ribs as they widen with each inhalation. With your mouth closed and your jaw relaxed, just breathe normally in and out through your nose. You can gaze softly at the candle or keep your eyes closed. The choice is yours. I recommend placing one hand on your chest and one on your belly button to help bring awareness to the location of the breath. Or if you like, you can rest your hands in your lap. Take notice of your neck and shoulders. Make sure they are relaxed and soft. Just observe your breath for now. Focus on the airflow as it moves in and out of your nose. Can you feel the slightly colder air entering your nostrils? And slightly warmer as it exits on the exhale. You can use this time as a measure of your concentration. For how long can you hold your attention on your breath before your mind starts to wander? It's normal for our minds to wander, and if you notice it happening a lot, this exercise will help improve your concentration. As soon as you notice your thoughts drifting in, bring your attention back to your breathing. We're now going to focus on the location of the breath. You may feel your chest expanding and contracting, or you might feel your tummy moving in and out. At this point, simply become aware of its location and observe it. At the top of the next inhale, bring a feeling of total relaxation to your body and allow a soft, relaxed breath out. The air should leave your body slowly and effortlessly. I invite you to bring your attention to your belly button. As you slowly inhale, let all of your tummy muscles relax and imagine the lungs being drawn down into the abdomen, filling your entire torso with oxygen-rich air. On the exhale, draw the belly button all the way in towards your spine to create stability in your core and harness the power of the breath. Just focusing the breath on the belly for now. It's quite common to notice some tension in the neck and the shoulders whilst you're carrying out this exercise. So make sure you use the breath to completely relax the entire body and only allow the belly to drift in and out with the breath. Be sure to keep your breath slow and effortless, maintaining a calm, controllable pace. On the next inhale, we're going to extend the breath from the abdomen up into the chest. You can think of it like a balloon filling up from the bottom of your belly and then up into your chest cavity. Starting with the inhalation into the belly and then By expanding the chest forward, we fill more of our lungs with air. Then for the exhale, like a wave, relaxing the chest walls and drawing the belly button in to complete it. We're going to carry this out a couple of times, just in your own pace. Belly button out, breathing in, filling the chest up. Exhale, relaxing the chest and drawing the belly button in. Belly button out, inhale, filling the chest up. Relaxing the chest walls, drawing the belly button in on the exhale. This sequence can take some practice, so I encourage you to start very gentle and without any expectations. Just let the breath come easily and without effort. Keep the breath slow. Ensure the rest of your body, including your neck and shoulders, are calm and relaxed. It's at the point of the exhalation that I carry out a full body observation, scanning each part of the body and relaxing it as I go. It might take a few exhales to get through the whole body, but as we start from our head, move down through our neck and shoulders, relaxing these parts as we go. Down your arms and into your fingers, from your chest and spine, down your torso, into the abdomen and organs, down into your hips and groin. And finally, down your legs, through your knees and into your toes. The reason for this body scan is to identify any areas of tension or maybe an injury that needs rest or protection. Perhaps it's just a good opportunity to bring mindfulness to each part of the body. And now I'm going to get you to bring your attention back to your belly button, just following the movement. Relaxing out, drawing back in, supporting the spine. Keeping the neck and shoulders relaxed. Remember, as you breathe out, relaxing the belly button out. When you're breathing in, relax. Breathing out, draw the belly button in. You can start to allow yourself to come back when you're ready. I'll get you to gently open your eyes and just notice how you're feeling. Is there more of a connection to the body? Is there a feeling of calm? How would you like to feel when you're making important decisions in a high-stress situation?
All right, guys. So probably scared off all the people who don't want to spend any time searching inward. But as you can see, that was a 10-minute meditation. Thanks for sitting in on that. I find that stuff super valuable, just for sort of centering my focus and ultimately aiming for aiming to get to that position in a process of about a minute. I'm just trying to sort my screen out. Okay, we're back. Yeah, so while that practice took about 10 minutes, I used the same technique in most of the situations that'll bring up like a stress response. But I'll do it in 1 or 2 breaths. Just take that deep breath in, do my full body scan, relax, so that I can make my decisions based on a calm state of mind, as opposed to a stressed fight or flight state of mind. So for me, there are 2 moments in skydiving that I really call on this tool. It's when I'm sitting on the plane, and it's sort of before the door opens. You know, all the emotions and the tension before the skydive is sort of building up. That's when I really sort of use that single breath, body scan, focus, and I find it really valuable. It takes a bit of practice though to be able to do that, especially in the plane. You know, you climb into height, it's a bit cold, it's hot, you know, a little bit hypoxic kicks in. There's lots of distractions and things like that. So with a bit of practice, it can be really valuable. The other time is when my canopy opens. So if I, you know, once that canopy opens, I really need to calm all of those chemicals that are sort of pumping through the body. You've just done 60 seconds of free fall. There's, you know, adrenaline and cortisol, all those sorts of things happening, pulsating through your veins. It's really a time to stop, take a deep breath, and really focus on the next part of our skydive. Okay, so now that we're all here and present, I'd like to delve into a tool that most of you might already be aware of, but maybe you haven't explored it to its full potential just yet. You know, what I'm talking about is mental rehearsal, or mental images, or visualization, you might have heard it called. And, you know, like, we've been using visualization and mental rehearsal for forever, basically. You know, even if we haven't really thought about it, you know, we use our imagination to memorize things. We use mental imagery to create stories in our mind, and we can actually direct these stories to create a positive outcome. You know, we can use this tool to learn new skills, and we can also use it to sort of identify and help us reach our goals, like our short and long-term goals. Maybe imagining yourself, you know, running a drop zone or something ambitious like that, you know, creating an awesome space for your mates to come and hang out. And there's nothing to say that we can't use visualization for, you know, to see yourself standing on the podium at a world championship. You know, they're the sort of things that we want to project into the future, these positive outcomes for us to work towards. So whatever your goals and dreams are, or whatever, whatever skill you're trying to overcome, using imagery will bring that positive emotion to the surface to keep you motivated, and so that you can keep working towards your goals. You know, watching footage or training videos can also help in the process, you know, actually seeing it on a screen, but ultimately it's our own imagination that'll give us the positive emotion to give us that motivation to keep working. So throughout this whole COVID period, obviously we haven't been jumping, so we've been using visualization. My teammates and myself have been using visualization to basically stay current, or, you know, like to false our minds into thinking that we're still current. You know, learning the dive pool, going through jumps, and basically just staying in a current state of mind around skydiving. And we found it to be quite valuable. There's 2 basic ways that we visualize. So there's the internal perspective, where we're actually looking out of our eyes. That's, you know, obviously that's quite easy to imagine. And then the other is the external perspective. And it's sort of, with jumping, it's pretty easy to think of it as like your cameraman's perspective. You know, we've all seen, or most of us have seen, footage of ourselves. You know, that's the external perspective. So when we play out that mental image in our mind, we can either play it out as it's coming from our eyes, or from that cameraman's perspective. Not only just from a cameraman's angle though, you know, maybe you can use visualization to have a zoomed in perspective on a particular detail, or more importantly, a zoomed out perspective. You know, we get a greater intelligence of our environment if we have a perspective that's from further away. So I find that really valuable. The goal for today is to explore how these images affect our emotions. So remembering that creating a positive emotion in an image can give us that motivation to keep working towards our goal. So I'm going to run through a typical skydive from the gear up and through the dirt box and all the way up to the canopy opening. And then from the canopy on, we're going to look at canopy flight and the flow state. So I'm going to introduce you to some creative techniques to stimulate your imagination and reinforce those positive emotions. Another screen share. Cool. Okay, so from the gear check. So imagine this: we're at the drop zone. We've turned up to the drop zone. We've unpacked our gear, and you know, imagine that you're on the packing mat. So it's a busy day at the drop zone. All your mates have come out, and it's noisy. There are people walking back and forth, and you know, it's quite distracting to be doing your gear check in this situation. So I want you to be able to control the noise and slowly turn the volume down. So imagine all the chaos, and as you're actually holding the volume knob and you're turning it slowly, and that volume's starting to go down all the way until it's silent. Not only that, but as you're turning the volume down, everyone walking around starts to slow to a still, and everyone's paused now. So everyone's paused, it's completely silent, and you're standing in front of your gear. Think about how much easier it would be to do a gear check in this situation without the distractions. So going over your gear check, have a look at the flaps on the rig. Is your AOD turned on? Checking your 3 rings, handles, check your BOC. And all of the details that we can add to the visualization can help us create like this positive outcome. So the colors of the rig, even something as simple as the color of the carpet, really imagining that you're in that space. Okay, it's a 5-minute call. So I was a bit torn as to whether or not we put these images up on the screen. Yeah, we are supposed to be using our imagination to visualize it. So maybe you can close your eyes, but there are some photos on the screen to sort of prompt you in that direction anyway. So we're at the dirt box. Let's start by imagining we're standing at the dirt box and we're waiting for the plane. So at this point, we're looking out of our own eyes. You know, that's the internal perspective that we're looking. And we're just observing all the things that we should be aware of. You know, who's in our group? What are the other groups doing? Where am I on the exit in the stack up? What's the wind doing? What's the wind doing on landing? This is the time where we need to be visualizing our landing pattern. You know, we have our landing direction. What's my flight plan? And visualizing our holding area and how we flying towards our target. So checking the windsock. Who else is in our group? And how about a buddy check? You know, visualize who you're doing a buddy check to, the color of their jumpsuit, all that sort of stuff. So that's the internal perspective. And let's have a look at it from a different perspective to see if we can't get a better awareness. So let's look at ourselves. How about we stand on top of the hangar and we're looking down over the drop zone, and we've got a better view of the greater picture. We can see all the different things that are going on. So how does this feel in comparison to that first person view? You know, by taking a step back, our views change drastically, and it can give us a better awareness of the greater environment. Okay, taking off. This I used to visualize in the plane as the wheels took off from the plane from takeoff all the way to 1,000 feet. I used to run the skydive over in my head. So I'd close my eyes, and I think if you guys have been in the plane with 4-way guys, they close their eyes and they do the grips and everything. That's using mental rehearsal to remember their skydive. But I've actually changed that as an instructor and someone who is a bit more aware of some of the things that can go wrong, I've adapted a practice where I keep my eyes open, and as the wheels take off on takeoff, I start to visualize things that could go wrong. Now, I don't like to put a negative spin on visualization, but it's a good way to prepare ourselves for malfunctions or aircraft emergencies, things that can happen in that set of altitude or at any time. So I keep my eyes open and I visualize, perhaps an aircraft emergency. So what would I do? Who's between me and the door? Who's in control of the door? Those sorts of things. And then I might start to visualize malfunctions that might happen with the parachute system that I'm flying. If it's a tandem, some of the sequences that are involved with dealing with a malfunction. So I use that time period between takeoff and 1,000 feet to visualize those malfunctions. Once we're on the plane and we're flying to height, getting close to exit, this is where I feel, most of the emotions sort of start to well up, like feelings of anxiety or that stress response. People are getting sort of tense. Might just, obviously excitement comes into play here, and that can sort of take away our focus. So this is a good time to take the focus away from those negative emotions, those the nervous type emotions, and bring your awareness to your surroundings. So it's a great technique for getting out of your own negative thought process and moving into a productive, positive outcome. So you can start this by doing the breath work that we did, taking a deep breath in, feeling your belly, and then nice deep breath out, nice relaxing your body from head to toe. And then turn your attention to your surroundings, doing a gear check on everyone else on the plane. Checking what you can see, their flaps and their 3 rings, having a look at chest straps and seat belts, seeing how, if someone's forgotten to undo their seat belt. You can turn your attention to outside the plane, having a look at clouds and, what altitude are the clouds at? Have we got a clear space for free fall? Things like that. So, although it's not technically we're looking to adjust our emotions here. We're So what we've done here is we've taken an internal emotion, that feeling of nervousness, and we've transferred our attention into an external awareness. So giving us like more awareness to the here and the now, or to the moment. So although it's not strictly speaking a form of imagery, like I feel it's a really valuable tool in my mental rehearsal for any skydive preparation. Okay, so the doors, the green light's gone on, the door's open. We're sitting at the door. Imagine pulling the door open, ready to climb out, and you've got this image in front of you. Let's experience some of the other sensations that you might feel when the door opens. So like the cool air on your skin, the change of wind pressure in the cabin, the sound of the prop outside the plane. Everything's quite noisy. And the reason I bring these up is to enhance that stimulation, to be as realistic as possible. And by imagining each and every detail, it gives us the best chance to project that reality into a positive experience. So remembering that we can actually direct the movie however we like. And we might want to project something different. If you're used to opening the door and looking out over a dust bowl or something, start to imagine yourself opening the door and looking at the coast. You never know, you might project a major move in your life, and you might find yourself sort of jumping over paradise every day. I'm always getting students to visualize the door opening for things like spotting and is the plane on the right jump run, looking out the door for clouds, those sorts of things. It gives you a really good situational awareness and a great introduction for them to start thinking about each step of the way. All right, exiting. So visualizing our exit. So without a doubt, this is the spot where visualizing can be like our greatest asset. Our sort of perception of this stage of the skydive is a bit skewed. like because the relative wind is coming at us sideways, you know, let alone needing to picture ourselves being in control in an environment that we've like virtually spent no time in. So approaching our exit with imagery can help us understand something that our body and our mind are still trying to work out. So by practicing over and over again how our body is supposed to be positioned in the door, how we're going to exit in relation to other people in the door, can give us a real head start and help us with our exit. So there's a couple of ways I use imagery for exits. We were talking about the internal perspective and the external perspective. This is a great opportunity to sort of explore those two. First person view helps me practice like where I should be placing my head, you know, where my head should be into the relative wind, and also where I should be looking, you know, am I looking up at the plane or at the prop as I exit, or am I looking back over my shoulder towards my teammates? And this is where, you know, that head position can be really important, especially on an exit. The other perspective is, as I was mentioning earlier, is that of the cameraman. So this gives me a better whole body awareness, like where I need to fly relative to the rest of the people on the exit. And you know, this can be improved a lot by communicating this on the ground, you know, the dirt dive on the ground, working out exactly the angle of the exit, how it's supposed to look, where we're supposed to position ourselves in relationship to our teammates. And then we can really create a picture to be able to mentally rehearse it before the exit itself. So we all know how bad, you know, if a bad exit happens, how much it can really affect our skydive. So getting this image perfect in our minds from the start will help us practice, and it'll give us better value for our jumps. So track off and deployment. Now I like to visualize this. This one's, for me, it's about bigger picture perspective as well. I mean, we know in our group we've got the person to the left of us and the person to the right, and obviously we have to look out for them. But what are the other hazards? You know, some of you guys might have seen Brent's presentation on the Dakunu, the 3D Viz platform. So seeing the big way track off, that's basically the image that I use in my mind. You know, I have this Google image, sort of a bigger picture section, and it's basically a bird's eye view of Google Maps where we're breaking off. So, you know, where my group is and where I'm tracking off, you know, where's the drop zone, obviously. And then I start to think about what was the jump run direction and where do I expect to see other groups. So I'm visualizing, okay, you know, the group that got out before me are probably going to be opening earlier. So I'm expecting canopies to be in that area. And then obviously, you know, am I tracking up jump run? Do I need to be conscious of the other groups that are still in free fall? So utilizing this mental image can help me get a better perspective of the overall situation and help me sort of identify things that might be going wrong and picking up on them earlier. And then once I deploy my canopy, I sort of like a whole new ballpark for me. It's almost like a different jump altogether, you know. So we're going to go into some connection with the wing kind of stuff. But if you've got any questions or anything that you have for me right now, feel free to shoot. Still working out this screen. Sorry, guys. All right, so any questions about the visualization stuff? Hands up if you use visualization for your own mental rehearsal. Is there anything different or new that someone might have heard there? Sure you've learned something out of that. Excellent. Cool. Well, I'm going to go into section that I call connection. So here's Scotty making sweet love to his wing, taking a bit of a moment. So you and your wing, it's all about connection. And this is sort of moving into that flow state mentality where we've sort of brought awareness to ourselves and awareness to our situation. And it's not just about our bodies now. We're not just a human body, where the entity is ourselves and our skydiving system, you know, our parachute. So this section is about sort of understanding the connection that we have with our wing, and being able to utilize that to become, you know, more of a single entity in our environment. So this isn't, you know, I didn't design this. I haven't sort of thought this concept up. This has come from Brian Germain's book. This is what sort of sparked this for me. And it's about like the geometry of our skydiving system and how we see ourselves sort of today. This is the existing geometry. As you can see here, this Canopy pilot is suspended under the wing, and it's basically two shapes. We have the triangle shape of the parachute, and it comes down to the slider, and then it sort of turns into a bit of a rectangle, and it's sort of a bit of a disconnect where we have two shapes hinging on one section here. And ultimately what we're trying to do is create one shape, one geometric shape that will fly through the air better. So this is the start, and these are some of the things that we can do to adjust our system to create a better connection between the body and the wing. So this jumper has collapsed his slider. That's great. We're starting to reduce the drag on the system, which is really valuable. But what I like to identify here is the slider itself is kind of choking the risers. So it's holding those risers together. So one of the first things we teach students once they're out of their AF or whatever is to start to bring the slider down and put it behind their head. And that's going to help us. It's already starting to help us create a better geometric shape. You can see here, if we pulled the slider down, that we'd have that triangle shape above, but now it's coming down to our chest strap. And a lot of people sort of, at this point, it takes a little bit of time to get comfortable with the next step. You know, we're looking to loosen the chest strap a little bit to continue that line from the outside of the wing down towards the hip rings. This is a really good opportunity to take a deep breath. Again, utilizing that sort of breath work to feel comfortable in an uncomfortable situation, and start to adapt some of these tricks to our skydiving system. So collapsing and pulling down your slider is the first step, and then we're going to look at loosening the chest strap. So it's easy to say that on the screen now, you know, when we haven't got our skydiving system in front of us, but for guys who are looking to teach this or looking to learn it, it's really best done with a Canopy coach at the drop zone. Each step at a time has inherent risks as well. You know, pulling the slider down has the risk of removing the toggle from creating a toggle fire. So every step of the way here, we need to introduce what the risks are, how to mitigate those risks, and you know, if you have an emergency procedure in place for those risks. So the next step, let's imagine we've loosened that chest strap, and now that line, this is a little over exaggerated, but it does give a clear picture as to what we're trying to achieve here. So if the Canopy pilot there had his knees up, you could imagine that there'd be quite a stable triangle shape there. Again, taking a deep breath to help us make some clear decisions, keeping your chin up, engaging your core. And I call this the active flying position. You know, a lot of the time I talk to students about changing their mentality from a Canopy passenger into a Canopy pilot. And all of these things sort of as a collective turn us into a more active Canopy pilot. So this is a great image of Amy. She's done those things that we've talked about, collapsed the slider, brought it down behind her head. And you can see that slider is not choking the risers. The risers are as wide as they need to be. The chest strap is loose, which has sort of changed the shape of the rig. And you can see the line of the riser coming down past the slider, past the 3 rings, past the chest strap, and all the way to the hip rings. Now, this seated position, this active canopy position, gives us a lot more control to the wing via the hip rings. And you can see that Amy's knees are up and the leg straps are actually forward on the legs a little bit. This gives us a lot more access to harness input, and gives us a bit more of that, or a lot more connection to our wing. And this is one of the crucial steps to creating that flow state, or that feeling of connection with the wing, so that we can navigate our environment. You can see here she's got a chest forward, a head's up, and she's flying with intention. This is a great photo. One of the key risks that we identify when we're loosening our chest strap is have a look where the handles are. So imagine having a malfunction with the chest strap loosened like that and having to cut away. Then we've got a system where the handles are tucked in behind the arms, and we need to either adapt an emergency procedure where we tighten our chest strap again before we cut away, or that's something that you need to talk about with your students before teaching it. I love that photo, it's great. So what's my journey to canopy flight in the flow state? All of this has kind of come together through exploring different parachutes, moving into paragliding, speed flying and speed riding, stuff like that. So been given an opportunity to be able to explore different methods of flying and different technologies. So I've been sort of grateful to be able to experience that and then be able to bring it back to skydiving. The stage kind of goes like this: the meditation and self-awareness, or some sort of mindfulness. That's what we did at the start. We sort of explored that breath work, and that starts to bring some focus to our internal self. It can help us guide us to our true destination, so that we can sort of make decisions on what it is we really need, rather than what it is that we, instead of just sort of going with the flow and thinking that that's our end goal. Any sort of mindfulness training where we look to the internal will help us discover a positive way of being, or a positive mindset. Setting an intention. So setting the right intention can have like a profound effect on any journey that we embark on. Having a vision on how the journey looks and how we're going to hold ourselves during that time. There's no point in working your way to a gold medal and getting a gold medal if you're just going to be an asshole the whole time. I like to think of it that perhaps we find more happiness by helping others along the way, and not just being self-centered in our goals and our aspirations. I like to start each day by setting an intention. So even before I get out of bed, so it could be something simple like today I'm going to approach every situation with an open mind, or it might be something simple like I'm going to finish each task to completion before I start a new one. So just by setting a little bit of framework to the way that I'm going to approach situations during the day, can sort of help me sort of navigate the journey of the day. So you can see how setting an intention can kind of support us in the decisions that we make, while we sort of on our way to a goal. Visualization. So we explored some of the visualization tools a little earlier. You can use this tool to really project success, and exploring the positive emotions that come from well-practiced visualization, and using these emotions as motivation. Obviously reaching goals takes a lot of dedication, and it can be quite hard at times. So visualizing the successful part of the journey can really help you with those positive emotions. If you haven't read Dan BC's book, this one here, it's called Above All Else. That's a great book. He goes into visualization a lot after a major aircraft accident that they had, where a lot of jumpers died, and he had a major neck injury, and he used visualization to continue training during 4-way FS. And his story is really amazing. Like, if your story alone will convince you that this tool's has no limits. A key part of it is the connection. So the connection that we have, for me, skydiving journey's had many connections along the way. The connection to the sport, and most importantly, the connection to the community. It's basically shaped me as a person, and I've got a lot of gratitude around that. The connection that we develop with our wing is just as important as the connection that we have with the people around us. And that's what I'm going to explain to you in the next section. Well, I've sort of touched on it, and we'll sort of go into it a little bit more. So patience. This is a hard one. Whenever you're telling someone that they need to be patient, especially a young student that's super keen to get amongst it, I often find that it doesn't sort of falls on deaf ears. But I heard it framed once where to do less things but with more grace, and that kind of gives me a little bit of framework for myself about to be more patient. So that's how I try and deliver it now. So try and do less things with more grace. Enjoying the journey of the learning. Use dedication and perseverance to progress, but don't rush past the next step. And be present at each step of the way, and actually enjoy the challenges of failure. The sport of canopy piloting and any skydiving, really, it just can't be rushed. There are awarenesses that come from repetition, and then there are awarenesses that come from time, just purely time. Time to analyze and reflect on the journey so far. Time to assess the methods that you're using, to get to your goal. And even just reassessing. So spending time reassessing. How did I get here, and do I want to continue down this path, or what shifts do I need to make? We have to be adaptable to succeed. If we don't change and adapt well, then we'll never really experience that growth. So yeah, these awarenesses aren't born overnight. Where are we headed with canopy flight? So we're in the midst of a fairly major shift at the moment. With the introduction of different technologies from different sports like paragliding and speed flying and those sorts of sports. We're communicating better with people all over the world now. We're in a time where we're adapting our technology, and it's pretty exciting to be part of because of all of those factors. So, not since the move of, going from round parachutes to ram air have we had a major shift in parachute design. Not only in the wing itself, but also in the harness system. We're looking at new harness configurations to make the flight more efficient and to bring a better connection between the pilot and the wing itself. So we're learning to become a single entity with our wing, and really making that shift from a canopy passenger through to a true canopy pilot. So this here is the Newton harness that you can see here, and you can straight away you can see the geometry, how it looks more like a single entity. We're going to have a lot more control over our wing with this particular system. You can see the direct line between the outside lines to the hip, and the pilot seated position has a lot of benefits as well. So being in this position here, we have a lot less drag on the canopy pilot, which gives us but there's a lot of benefits around removing the drag. It not only makes the system fly faster, but our center of gravity changes. We come forward on the wing, which gives us access to more lift from the entire canopy. So it's quite exciting to sort of see these new technologies coming in, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to jumping it. This is a different direction. This is actually a speed flying harness, and this is sort of where a lot of the technology is coming from. You can see this is just a single geometric shape, a lot more responsive to the pilot, and the pilot's getting better feedback from the parachute himself. So he's getting any detail from let's say the wing tips a little bit, he's going to feel that through the harness system and be able to react or not react depending on the situation. This is just a little bit of a close-up as to how speed flyers sit in their harness. I really like I call it the pilot's seat. When we're suspended under a parachute, it's quite an uncomfortable system when we really think about it. The arms are up and back, and we're sort of stretched out. Makes it difficult to breathe, and there's a lot of pressure on the shoulders. The head and neck get a lot of tension from the back of the rig, and the leg straps themselves are actually quite uncomfortable. So obviously, we have a lot of different design parameters that we have to meet. The difference between skydiving and speed flying or paragliding, things like opening shock, etc. But we're moving towards this method of flight. The canopy, the pilot here is comfortable, his head and neck's nice and relaxed. His shoulders are forward and on the control lines, so we're not getting that flexion of the shoulder. And he's in a comfortable seated position. So, we can take a deep breath here and really make clear decisions from a nice position of control. More range here too with the legs, the way the legs are. We've got range for the legs to come up and go down as we flare and land. So moving into that flow state that ultimately that we're working towards. So for me, the flow state, or being in the zone, is something that's been described as mastering a set of skills and bringing pure awareness to the present moment. And that includes, mastering the relationship between the wing and yourself, as well as mastering the environment that we're in. And, reading the weather is a big part of that. Those presentations that Harry and Gina showed early on, a lot of that stuff goes through my mind when I'm flying my parachute or my paraglider. And that brings a situational awareness that helps me go towards that flow state, that state of pure awareness. So people often describe being in the zone as the moment when everything comes together and you get lost in the activity. Time can slow down and you can feel every detail and predict every move, like you are the master of your own time and space. I'm sure some of you have felt this. I remember this sort of feeling doing maybe 4-way VFS or something like that. I know when you've trained for hours and hours, working on a skill set, and then it all comes together that one day with your teammates. That's the feeling that we're going for, right? That's the feeling of flow or being in the zone. That's what sort of keeps me excited. So I often say that, that the flow state's the real thing that we chase. People are always saying, oh, you're adrenaline junkies or you're chasing the thrills. But for me, honestly, I think it's that we're chasing that flow state. And I'd be surprised if many of you don't agree. I love these videos. This is an example of pure flow state. So mastering the relationship between you and the wing, mastering the environment, practicing it, visualizing it, setting an intention. All of these things come into play when you see something like this played out. You can adjust the volume, I suppose. I'll actually put the volume on this, sorry. Oh. I'll share it again with the volume, so just stand by. All right, enjoy.
Do you want me to heat some up for you?
Depends if there's any. Is there enough for both of us, sweetheart?
Is there enough for all of us? So that's, you know, if that's not pure flow state, I don't know what is. Obviously that's you know, what we've seen there is a collection of years and years and years of practice, a complete connection with his wing and a good understanding of the environment. And that orientation that he's in there as a speed flyer, being connected through the hips and having the controls out in front, is what's sort of enabling him to be able to do that, or certainly supporting him in his journey, that's for sure. Pure flow state. All right, so just to recap a little, guys. Exploring a mindful practice, some meditation, yoga, something like that, to bring some attention to yourself. There's not only one way to visualize. Using those different perspectives can give us a different, so a greater awareness of our environment and of the situation that we're in. You know, what we're trying to achieve is positive emotions to give us motivation towards our goal, and seeking connection, so to self, to others, and most important, to your wing. Cool. That's my presentation, guys. I'd like to thank APF, obviously, for having me on today. Super challenging for me to do a presentation like this. It's hard enough talking to Canopy pilots and skydivers in classrooms at the best of times, let alone in front of a computer screen. Agony. But, and also, so yeah, thanks APF, really appreciate it. SQPC really support me at my local drop zone, as do all the local councils when I'm traveling around Australia. But yeah, a lot of gratitude to South Queensland Parachute Council. They do a great job in supporting all the fun jumpers. So I always like to express my gratitude towards those guys. That's it, guys. High Fly Australia is my Canopy school. You'll see me around more this year, and focusing a lot of time in and around Byron, just helping develop more fun jumping, getting the students up and really sort of driving fun jumping participation and keeping that retention happening over and over again. That's what we want, keep building on the community. So I'm going to open up to see if there's any questions. Chat, okay, great. Lots of gratitude. Awesome, guys. Thank you very much. Looking forward to the next course. Yes, yes. Good work. Thanks. Recommend the Headspace. Yeah. So a lot of guys in this community are already exploring, you know, a bit of the Headspace stuff. You know, I think although we all come from different backgrounds and various locations and professions or whatever, I think we're all sort of cut from the same cloth in a sense, and we're all just looking to better ourselves. So good stuff. Cool, guys. Well, unless there's anything else, thank you very much. Thanks, Jules.
Thanks, Jesse. Thanks for coming.
See you next time.
Cheers. Can I just get you to unshare your screen? I think Wade's going to just do a final send-off.
Thanks, Jules. Thanks, Jesse. Well done. Nice one. Good stuff. Yeah, I don't have too much to say. Another good couple of sessions today. Just a reminder that these webinars won't be weekly now. So the next one's on the 30th of July. So we're going to do them monthly. And they're going to be in the evening, Thursday evening, around 6 or 7 o'clock. I don't think we've really confirmed a time with that, but we'll let everyone know in e-newsers and on the Facebook page and emails and stuff like that. The next session we're having, we don't really have a topic for it yet, so we're kind of putting that out to you guys as members. If you've got any ideas or something that you guys want to talk about, shoot us an email, apf@apf.com.au, and we'll collate all that information and do our best to find a special guest on that subject. And just a reminder as well that there'll be a NZ Aerosports 20% Canopy voucher giveaway next session. That's the 30th of July. Does anyone have anything else to add? Charles, Jules, anybody? No? Thanks again to the guys from BOM, who I don't think are here anymore. Jesse, thanks again for your presentation. And that's us. Stay safe, stay happy, wash your hands. See you all later.